It's Monday, May 13th, 2024, and this is episode 309 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, all settled back there in Minnesota again at your house after your trip out here? Yeah, good.
Ready for the last 7.5 days of school.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that close.
Yep. The 22nd is a half day. That's our last day. And then graduation's on the 24th. And that'll be it.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. And then after that, I'll see you in Colorado.
Yeah. Probably like less than a week after that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or so we'll be in Colorado.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yes, very much.
All right. So if you recall, on our last episode, Mike was out here in San Diego. We recorded live. Mike was out here for his dad's service, and we thought, what better way to celebrate your dad's life than to immediately go to the casino after we recorded?
That's what he would want.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we did. We drove out to Jamul. Well, first of all, we were thinking, okay, we'll probably hit a few different casinos, because initially the plans were to meet up with your family, but it turned out they weren't able to meet us, so it was just you and me for the rest of the day. But we went out to Jamul first, and they had only one of two tables open, and it was packed. Middle of the day on Friday, maybe about 1 o'clock, early afternoon anyway.
Early, yeah, and it was packed.
So I could understand they only had one table open. The pit boss saw us. He recognized us and said, hang on, guys, let me see if I can get dealers to open up the other table. He got on the horn and came back and said, no, sorry, guys, I couldn't get anybody. We're not going to be able to open up that second table until 6 o'clock. And we said, okay, we understand. We took a closer look at the table that was open, and people, their chip racks were full. They had so many chips. So,
which is unusual for that place.
Yes.
I mean, they had a lot of chips. So somebody had a big roll.
Yeah. So we thought, well, probably nobody's leaving soon. We need to go somewhere else. So even though we wanted to play at Jamul, we said, well, let's try somewhere else. So we went to Sequan, which is about 20 minutes away. That was the closest one. And that worked out great because even though they had only a half table open, nobody was playing. So we got on right away. Sequan is fine for craps. They have 5 times odds, whereas Jamul has 10 times odds. They also don't have any hot bets. Big deal. I mean, I know you like to make hot bets every once in a while.
Well, just occasionally, but...
And they still use the cards by shuffling them up between each shooter and arranging them into the squares. We've talked about that before. That's basically how California craps goes.
Right.
So fine, we actually had a very good time there. It was a little up and down. You actually got stuck for quite a bit. But then a nice comeback at the end, and we were all laughing because you came out dead even. I think maybe you won $18, which you just tipped to the dealers. But after
something like
a big run, you were just even, and I won a little bit. But we had fun there, and one of the reasons we did is because as we were talking to one of the boxmen, it turned out that he worked at one of the Farrell's locations. You know, that was the ice cream parlor restaurant where basically Dr. Mike and I met. We were both working there. He was working at another branch, and as we were talking to him, I think his name was also Mike. You recognized his name, Mike.
Yeah. Well, because I didn't see his name tag. It was turned upside down. And, you know, I kept thinking, I know this guy from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm thinking, well, yeah, probably from one of the casinos, right? And turns out he was thinking the same thing. Like, well, this guy plays craps a lot. I must have seen him here before. Well, it turns out we worked together several summers.
At the Del Mar Fair, which is basically the county fair here in town, Farrell's had a presence, and some of the employees who'd been working there a long time got the opportunity to work at the fair. It was really good money. And so we probably worked with him out at the fair. So we're trading all sorts of funny stories. I think I worked 2 years out of the fair with him, and then we started, reminiscing about all the people we knew. And we all knew the same people and everything.
Yeah, it was really nice actually to catch up with him.
Yeah.
It's weird how the world works, right? I knew him. I kept looking, boy, I know him. And then I kept thinking, well, it's just from the casino, right? He's a pit boss here.
Well, I mean, why would you think that? When's the last time you were at Saquon?
Well, a long time. But he also, remember, he said he had been in Lake Tahoe and, he's probably worked other places.
So maybe you saw him at working box at some other table. But no, it was from Farrell's back in our college days. So that was kind of fun. Nothing else really to report other than, you got stuck pretty bad and made it all the way back. We had a really good shooter at the end.
You lent me some money and we got it all the way back.
Yeah, and we were out there quite a while. I mean, we played
we were there a while.
Until it was dark at least. So... But a very good time there. Anything else to say about, our little...
No, it was nice. I liked it there.
Yeah, Saquon's a very nice hotel.
Yeah.
I was telling you, when people ask me, where should I go gamble in the San Diego area, I always say Barona, because Barona has the best rules. 3-2 blackjack, full pay on their video poker. For a gambler, it's the best place to go. Otherwise, if people say, where's a good place to vacation? Or, I'm bringing the whole family or just my wife or whatever. Then I say, Saquon, because I think that's the nicest casino in town.
Oh, yes, by far. It's very nice, very open, and it's in a nice area, too.
Yeah, and it's funny because you and I used to go back in the 90s, when it was just Pai Gow poker, player banked games. Yeah. And you wouldn't even recognize the place now, right? It's completely different.
Completely different. And even before that, it was just a card room.
Yeah.
And it was like a shack almost, right? It was like, what are we doing out here?
All right. Well, it was good to see you out here again. We'll see you again in Colorado, and hopefully we'll see a lot of listeners in Colorado.
And I'm going to be out there too in July in San Diego.
Oh, okay, good.
My daughter's moving back to go to college, and we're going to take her car and take another car and drive all of our stuff out there and then drive back. So
good. So both your daughters are going to be going to school here in San Diego. So you'll have plenty of reasons to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, everyone will be there.
So we will have one more episode before Colorado, so we'll talk about more of those details on the next episode. So here's what I want to talk about right now, Dr. Mike. So for the 12 plus years that we've been doing this show, we've talked ad nauseum about Harrah's Southern California. It used to be called Rincon. That's the tribe that owns it. And it's run by Caesars. And we love the place. They would give us tons of free play. Since it was part of Caesars Entertainment, we could earn points there that we could then use in Las Vegas or any of the other places in the country. That's how we were able to go to Atlantic City. And I used 7 stars to go to Biloxi. Anyway, that's, been our home base.
Right.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Harrah's Southern California is dead to us now. No reason to go up to Harrah's Southern California. And here's why. Jamul has kind of become this star casino, as far as I'm concerned, in San Diego. And I think you'd agree with me, too.
Yes.
I was out at Jamul recently, and one of the Harrah's regulars, Ken, was there. I told you that I ran into him out there.
Right.
He was talking to me about Harrah's. He said, I don't go there anymore. Number one, because, their comps have completely dried up. Free play, all that kind of thing. And I've experienced that as well, number one.
Yeah.
He told me also, he didn't go for like a few months. And when he returned to Harrah's, they said, well, we're dropping you from 7 stars down to diamond because you just haven't been playing that much. And he's like, what? Are you kidding me? You remember the way Ken would bet, Mike. He would always go...
Ken's a monster player.
Yeah. He would go all the way across for some big money, and then he would have a field bet every roll.
Yeah, and he'd go across on the come out working.
Yeah, right.
Like $600 or something across working, and 7 comes up, and he just puts another 6 out there. He bought in. Every buy-in was for like 10,000,
and he would make this field bet, and every time the field bet would win, he would take the winnings and the bet that he just made and press his 6 and 8.
Right.
And then he'd make another field bet. And if the field bet lose, he'd just make another one. So he was giving him some action.
Yeah, a lot of action.
So here's the thing now, Jamul, we talked about it. They're still basing the game on cards, I guess, because they take ace through 6 and they put it in the numbered boxes 1 through 6. They don't
Right.
shuffle it every time unless a shooter wants them to shuffle it, and then they will.
Yeah, otherwise it's regular
So
dice.
it's like playing real craps. You know, when a 1-5 comes up on the dice, they push the card that's in the number one spot that happens to be the ace, and the 5 that happens to be in the number 5 spot. And it's 1-5, and that's the call. So it's like you're playing real craps. So Ken is now driving to Jamul. Here's how much it matters to him.
Well, it's a huge drive.
He lives in Temecula, and for those not familiar with the area, if he were to drive to Harrah's, Southern California, it's about 35 minutes. To drive all the way to Jamul, it's an hour 25 minutes. So it's significantly a longer drive for him. But he goes to Jamul because you're playing real craps, quote unquote, and their comps are fantastic.
Yeah, they give you a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. The comps are terrific at Jamul. It's about 25 minutes from my place, so it's way closer to me than Harrah's.
Right.
And almost every day they're giving away something. And it's not always free play. Sometimes it's food. You know, they had for Cinco de Mayo, they had a thing where, you just walk through a line, they give you some lobster and rice, and, you know, it's like a little picnic there. It's just for free, you know?
Right.
And here's what I really like. You know, when they would give away free play at Harrah's, Mike, you'd swipe your card as soon as you got there. And then for the rest of the day, every hour they'd call like 5 names or, you know, whatever. And then at the end of the night, they'd give away a bunch. And if you weren't there, you just didn't get the money.
Right.
If you left early, and that even happened to me once, where we drove away.
Yep.
Mary texted me and said, "Hey, they just called your name." I raced back there, but couldn't get there in time. And I understand why they do it. They want you to stick around. It's like their way of getting you to stick around. But
exactly.
But at Jamul, they have a similar thing. Like a couple weeks ago, they were giving away $1,000 in free play every 10 minutes. And it was based on your card being in a machine. Or if you were at a table game, you know, they knew that you were there because they had slid your card and, you know.
Right, you wiped your card.
Right. Yeah. And so you're actually there. When it's $1,000, okay, we're heading over to such and such, and they know right where to go because they know where you're playing, and they give it to you right there. So no free play goes unclaimed.
Yeah, I like that they come and give it to you. You don't have to run up somewhere as fast as you can.
They come to the table, right?
You can still keep playing while they're giving you your free play.
Right.
Remember how many times I win and I'd have to like, oh God, 5 minutes. And, you know, I didn't want to leave that roll. So, you know, I'm just waiting till near the end so I could run up there and get it at the end.
So I love that. Now, Sherry and I were out there last Saturday. And they were giving away, you know, $1,000 every 10 minutes. And they come around with, it was Cinco de Mayo. So, you know, they've got kind of like a mariachi theme going around and balloons and everything. And they're making a big deal of it. Very festive atmosphere. And they walk over to the craps table. Oh, we're giving away the $1,000 to a craps player here. And, you know, we're at the craps table just all, woo, woo. Where is Mark? I got called for. Never did I win. Yeah, my name got called once at Harrah's, but I wasn't there. This time, where's Mark? I said, oh, right over here. $1,000 free play. So of course, I'm big on Jamul for a lot of reasons.
Right.
But I mean, they're very generous. They're super friendly.
Yes.
They're independent, right? They're not tied to any other players club, but it's so easy to use the card there. They've got an app. It's easy to use the app. I can pull up the app and find out exactly what they're giving me every day to the dollar amount. You know, it's not like, oh, check your flyer or something like that. No, you actually look on that, and this is independent. So I'm just very high on Jamul right now.
Yeah, my brother loves it.
Yeah, right.
Here's another thing you forgot. On Mondays, if you're a senior, free dinner.
That's right. As soon as you earn 30 tier credits, free dinner. Yeah. Now, you know, it's a limited menu, but I got a huge burger and fries last time. And I mean,
if you're a senior, I mean, and you know, and you're going to go anyway, why not? And 30 tier credits is not much.
And not just senior, but 50 and over.
Yeah.
All right. So you know, you think senior, 65 and older. No, it's 50 and older is considered a senior.
Yeah. So Sherry can eat too.
Yeah. Even Sherry can eat.
Have if it was 60 and over, you'd have to. Oh, Sherry, sorry, you're gonna have to pay for your own.
Yeah, that's
I'm getting my free food. You decide what you want.
I've actually already got my food. I'm just gonna sit here at the table and start eating. Once you have yours, bring it over.
Right. But they do give a ton of stuff away. And since my brother's been down taking care of my mom most of the time, he goes regularly.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes my mom, and they go and they get their free food. And
you're right. He's been talking about it for some time. And the reason I didn't pay much attention to it is like, well, Harrah's keeps giving us great stuff. But now, it doesn't matter. Okay, there are some negatives. I do want to bring up the negatives. It is absolutely the smokiest casino in town. I mean, you spend a little time there. It's all over your clothes, in your hair.
Yeah, they allow smoking. And they do have a non-smoking area for some slots.
There are, and it is enclosed. So, I mean,
it's
really,
enclosed, so it really is non-smoking. Yeah. But if you're playing blackjack or a table game, it's all smoky. Yeah.
The cashier is still a nightmare. The lines are just crazy. Now, they do have a dedicated line for cashing out chips. It used to be, Mike, if you remember, it was a line that was chips or their highest tiers. Now they've separated those two. So there's still the higher tier line, but there is a dedicated chip line for cashing out chips. So that's good. So usually I don't have to spend much time in line.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that could easily be solved. And I don't know why they don't do this. And maybe they will after they're building a hotel.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So after the hotel and all the resort stuff gets built, maybe they'll change this, but they don't have a dedicated area for people who just have need a new card or, the club, the membership thing.
The club is part of the cashier area.
Yeah. So you're in the same line with those people who are trying to get cash advances, people who are cashing out. You're all in that line. It's just all too much in one spot.
Right. You mentioned they're building a hotel. That's a negative right now, no hotel, but they're saying in about a year they will have the hotel. Well, you can see they're building it. So that will change. And the last bad thing, the parking. It's a parking garage. There's one way in. People go very slowly. They pretty much have to because the turns are so tight. Right. So, you can't just pull up. I mean, they do have valet, but you can't just pull up, drop somebody off, and turn around. You have to go through the whole parking garage. That's kind of a mess. So,
but all those negatives are kind of just inconveniences, right?
Oh, right. Well, I mean,
there's nothing that would keep you like, I'm not going there. I hate the parking.
No. But I want to be fair and say, this isn't, your dream casino. It's certainly highest on my list for the San Diego area casinos right now.
Well, and if they fix the parking and they had a better cage area, I mean, to me, I'd have no complaints.
Right. And like you said, since they are building a hotel, maybe they will expand the casino. Who knows what changes will come with the hotel as well. So
they've got a limited amount of land there. That's the
thing. It is a small footprint, and that's kind of why the parking garage is a little odd too. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their only really thing is to go up. And we found out last time, or at least I found out, and I had no idea. I thought, it was an Indian reservation, and it's not.
It's not. It's not a whole reservation. No.
The actual reservation is down the road, and this was land that was gifted to them by a couple of people.
Right. It's technically the Jamul Indian Village. So that's the only land they have to work with for the casino. Right. So, it's not in the middle of the reservation. Yeah.
It's just a few acres. That's why it can't spread out too wide. It can go deep. They keep, they dug out a huge hole for that parking lot. But
so 10 times odds, if we didn't mention before, which is the highest you can find in the San Diego area. Yeah, you do have to pay the VIG up front. That's also standard in San Diego. Oh, and here's something I found out today, Mike. Just today. Just like Atlantic City casinos, if you make a place bet for the dealers, they round up.
Yeah.
So if you make a $1 place bet on the 6 for the dealers, they pay it 2 to 1. They pay $2 and then they take the bet down. So it's $3. So they're actually getting paid better than mathematical odds on those for tips.
Yeah, so that's nice for their employees.
Yep. So, all right. Jamul, you'll hear me gushing about it quite a bit, but you will not hear me talking about Harrah's Southern California anymore, probably.
Until one episode where it's like, oh, I lost so much money. I'm never going there again.
Oh, no, that's not my style, Dr. Mike.
No, that'd be me.
Yeah, I'm too much of a robot to say something like that. Yeah.
That would be me. And then the next day, well, did you go out there? Yeah, of course I went out there.
Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, that means it's voicemail time. First up is Dylan.
Mark and Dr. Mike, this is Dylan from Houston. Calling a little trip report. Went to Vegas for 3 nights, 2 nights at the Golden Nugget, 1 night at New York, New York. When I got to the Golden Nugget, it was about 12 p.m. noonish, so I went ahead and see if I could check in early. They were going to charge me a $50 early check-in fee. Thought that was a bit much, so I asked if I paid for a room upgrade, would I still have to pay the fee? And she said no, so I went ahead and did it. It was fine. I got a pool view, unstocked mini fridge. I liked it. First bit of gambling, did a little poolside blackjack. It was 6-5, but it was only a $10 minimum with a $2 side bet. You know, it's the old, you get a blackjack, you get to spin the virtual wheel, that type of deal. I think my buddy hit $50 on that. I had an okay session there. I think I just about broke even. There was poolside craps over there, and I can't remember if I've ever seen that there, but it was a table. You can only fit about 6 on, you can only stand on one side of it, and it was very small. I'd be shocked if it was more than 6 feet, maybe even a little less. Couldn't really see the rules. It was all full the whole time. I couldn't get in on it, but I just thought that was a little unique. Don't remember if I've ever seen poolside craps. Played a little regular craps inside later on that night. We were playing for about an hour. There was an older woman in a wheelchair at the end of the table, and when we were done, we colored up and we went to sleep. It was pretty late. Woke up 8 hours later, went downstairs. Same woman, same spot. I couldn't believe it.
Sounds like your
had
dad.
been playing at least 9 hours. I was like, what do the dealers say? Do they ever tell her to go to sleep? I don't know. I've never seen anyone play that long. Longest I've ever played, maybe 5 hours. Next, New York, New York. Didn't gamble there too much. Got kind of crushed on sports bets. But I did walk into the Cosmo for the first time. And boy, howdy, I get it. I get what Vinny Chen's has been saying this whole time. It's a beautiful place. A lot of good-looking ladies in there. Went ahead and played some blackjack there, too. I was down because of the sports bets, and the table minimums were about $25, more expensive than I like, but the dealer was so cool. He was flipping over the cards slowly, pretending like he was making mistakes, messing with the chips, telling jokes. He was like this Russian guy. He was great. We played for about 20 minutes, and I actually doubled up, but still definitely not even. But it was nice to leave on a little winning session. Definitely might stay there next time I go. My buddy also hit on the new NFL slot over there. Nice little $200 hit, I think. That was about it. I think the last thing I'm going to say is Vinny Chen's and Big Joe need to get the band back together. We need 7 Out podcast again. We need new episodes. My car rides to work are getting lonely, man. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for the show. Goodbye.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Hey, amen.
Thanks.
We need 7 Up podcast. It sounded like they were coming back. They released an episode. Maybe it was like 2 episodes in a row, and then just crickets after that. Vinny, if you're listening, put some pressure on Big Joe. Everybody loves you.
What I like is him saying that, she must have played 8 hours. That's how long that is. What do you think our record is, Mark?
Oh, God. That is a good question, Mike. It would have been from our younger days, of course. But what do you think? See, God, it's so hard to say because
it's over 12.
What I'm thinking, though, Mike, is when we used to go to Vegas, when really the only way we could play craps is when we went to Vegas. I don't know that we had a session at a single table that long. We might have played craps for 12 hours, but at the same table? Do you think so?
Possibly. I mean, I definitely could have at Harrah's because, there were times when I'd start, playing at noon and then all of a sudden I'm done at like 1 a.m. or something. Okay. I know at Caesars. I know a lot of times we moved around if things got bad.
Yeah.
But we had some pretty long sessions at a table.
Okay, but an all-nighter?
I don't do that because I kind of feel like I get to a point where I'm not really paying much attention.
Right. Once it's like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., that would be it. Well, certainly not today, but I'm thinking back in the olden days.
Olden days.
Yeah, I can't imagine we would have gone all night and then still be playing at like 8, 9 in the morning. No, we would have stopped.
No, because I remember times when it was like, oh my God, it's 5 a.m. We better go get a little sleep, and then we're back up at 7:30 or 8 to play. But
he's talking about poolside craps at Golden Nugget. I've never played that before, but I think that's been around for a while. Seems to me I've seen that for quite a few years.
Yeah, at Golden Nugget, I've seen that there.
Yeah, and this is not,
quite a while back.
This isn't swim up craps, right? This is just poolside craps. But yeah, I do remember seeing that smaller tub and people out there. And it seemed to be crowded whenever I looked out there.
Yeah. When they have, craps in the pool, where you're actually in the pool.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to play when I'm confined to a wheelchair.
Well, that's
all I'm going to play.
There's some vintage photos of that. I want to say it's from the Flamingo, but I might be wrong. But there's some photos from like the late 50s, early 60s where it is. Right. All the dealers are in the water too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. But when you're in a wheelchair, that's all. Yeah,
I'm reserving that for when I'm in a wheelchair because I'll like the soothing water.
That's right. You'll be able to stand up.
And they'll say, "Sir, you can't take the wheelchair into the pool." And I'll, hit them with some discrimination thing, and boom, I'll be in there. They'll have to hire somebody to push me up to the lift to lower me down into the pool.
And your session will be so long that the wheelchair will rust. While you're in there, and then there's nobody to be able to get you out.
And the dealers will be complaining, our feet are all wrinkled, our toes are wrinkled. Come on.
It's terrible. And he doesn't tip. That's going to be the other thing when you're in a wheelchair. Suddenly you're not going to be tipping anymore.
Well, I don't have to because I'm old.
All right. Let's hear from our buddy Robin from NE Time Gambling.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. I remembered I had a few other questions for you after listening to your last podcast. And the first thing is, yes, I always play 2 spots on Pai-Gow at 25 apiece, only because I go early in the morning and then I can have a lot of the table myself. And that also happens if you're all by yourself. It helps with being the banker. Secondly, hey, I got an option for you. You know that MGM Springfield is up for grabs. And I didn't know if this would be a good time for you to check it out, buy it, and have a place for your own casino. I know you've been, talking about it for years. You could add your own, all those rules that you wanted to see. They don't have Pai-Gow, so you could add Pai-Gow. Hey, who knows? This could be a big deal. And so I just want to ask you, I hope you don't call it muckleshoot, but what would you call your casino in Springfield, Massachusetts? And there's a lot of us out here that could help manage it for you if you're not around. You know what I mean? Okay, so what would you call your own casino? Love the podcast. You guys know that. Take care. Bye.
I guess we never have thought about what we would actually call our casino.
Well, Springfield, Massachusetts, that's the origin point of basketball, so I think our casino would have to be called like Buckets.
Buckets? Oh, yeah, and it'd be like a throwback to when you had to get a bucket to collect all of your coins from the slot machine.
We have buckets, none of this paper crap and stuff. I mean, you get all your coins in your bucket and I love those buckets. I miss them, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, I don't really miss the filthy fingers but
they were fun to collect.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun to take it to the cage and they'd pour it in the big counter. You wouldn't know exactly how much you had until it counted up.
And the people could collect them. You'd see people, I got a bucket from every casino, that I went to and stuff. And remember in the old days, you'd see people walking down the strip with a bucket full of coins. They didn't cash them in.
Right.
They just carried them to the next casino. Their coins.
I had some silly ideas here, Mike. I'm not even going to read them off. I think that's perfect. Buckets.
Buckets.
Plus, if you've had too much to drink, I need a bucket. It's just so many uses for it. All right. Buckets. That's going to be the name of our casino.
Yeah, buckets.
All right.
Well, let's hear your crazy ideas.
No, mine weren't good. Seriously, I'm not going to say because they're not that funny. I was just coming up with stupid. No, I'm not even saying. We're moving on. Next call.
All right, let's go.
Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Bert from Virginia again. Just calling to do a quick trip report from the newest Caesars property, actually the only Caesars property in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They're building an actual casino and hotel, but until they build it, there's a giant tent in the parking lot that they opened as soon as they got the approval to build the casino. I sent you a picture on email of the giant tent. It's just an interesting process. We stopped by on a Saturday night. They only have one craps table there. It's $25 on Saturday night. We came back Sunday morning. It's still $25, so I didn't really get the chance to play. Don't really play at those levels. It's mostly slot machines. They have a little high limit area roped off, a couple of little fast food eateries you can grab something to eat. But it's basically a giant tent in the parking lot, and right behind it is a giant construction site. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have an actual casino and hotel in Little Danville, Virginia. They'll be the newest Caesars property. It doesn't even show up on the Caesars website yet, so you can't even see any information about it. But I did notice you did get to earn tier credits while you're here, so that's kind of cool. Good. It's about 2.5 hours from where I live, so we decided to check it out. Glad I came. Don't think I'll come back until the actual casino and hotel are up. The tent's a little small, and the one craps table kind of limits your options. But, they do have the shoot to win roll, and whatever the one is with the little mini table and the players playing on kiosks. They do have one of those as well. But just letting you know about the newest, latest, greatest Caesars property coming up in Little Danville, Virginia. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Bert.
Thanks, Bert. Yeah, eventually, Bert, there's going to be a casino everywhere. Every town.
Yeah, let us know, Bert, if you do eventually go back when it is finished. You know, Mike, a while back, listener Christian emailed us asking if we'd ever been in a tented casino.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We've never been in a temporary casino like this one in Danville, where it's just there because, they're building the actual casino. But we have been in tented casinos before. But gosh, a lot of
Verona started that way, remember?
Was I thinking exactly. Verona, a lot of these tribal casinos in the 90s, before they were full-blown casinos where they could bank games, they were in these big tents.
Mark, I think that casino out by Harris, that little tiny one. What's it called?
Palma?
Palma. It's still a tent.
I think you're right, Mike. I haven't been there in a long time. But
I think it's still a tent. It's a nice tent.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a building, but when you get up close, you can see it's just a tent.
Isn't it funny, Mike, that Palma was the very first place we played California-style craps? And I think it was literally the first one in the state.
Yes, it was.
They couldn't really run with it. It is still a dinky casino that you don't hear much about.
It's not very far from Harrah's.
No.
Yeah, and you would think, they've got craps there. And you know how Harrah's is always full of craps players. Well, why didn't they gravitate? Why didn't they go there at first?
Yeah, I don't know. And,
why did that not do so well?
And my understanding is Palma does not have craps anymore, even though it was the first place we went. So
yeah, no, they don't. Because I went there with my dad a few years back, and it was gone.
But getting back to tented casinos, that kind of was the norm around here. And they were sort of those, permanent tents.
Right.
You saw the picture that Bert sent. That, definitely is going to come down. These were more like, okay, this tent's going to be here for a while, right? This is not a circus tent that they're just going to take down. There's some permanence to it. So
it just wasn't a hard structure. I mean, there weren't studs and walls and stuff. It was just some kind of hard plastic thing.
It wasn't brick and mortar. It was more metal and balloon.
Right, metal and balloon. It's more of a, those balloon casinos.
That's right.
Like a Zeppelin.
You can play in the virtual casino or online, or you can go to the metal and balloon casino and play for real money with chips. All right, next call.
Hey guys, this is Joseph from Grand Prairie, Texas, just right outside of Dallas. So I just wanted to call and agree with Mark that 2024 has sucked both of your losses of your fathers, and sorry for that. And my wife lost her father in January. My mom just got a bad diagnosis for her health. Yeah. So if you'll allow me on all our behalf, 2024, you can go suck it. And now that I got that out of the way, on a brighter note, I'll be in Vegas this coming weekend, May 4th. May the 4th be with me. Hope I have good news to report. That's about it. So again, sorry for both of your losses. And thanks for the show. Take care.
All right. Yeah. Thank you,
All right,
Joseph.
thanks.
Yeah. 2024 can suck it. I
Yeah.
think we can agree on that.
Yeah, so far, I'm not real pleased with
No, it hasn't
2024.
turned out too good.
But I hope his mom does okay. I hope
Yeah.
the health works out.
Yeah. And hopefully you had a good trip. You said you went on May 4th, so hopefully you had a lucky trip. And 2025, well, it'll be better. We hope.
Yeah. Well, it sounds better, right? 2025.
2025 is that science fiction year, that they've been talking about all during the 1900s. 2025.
25, yeah. We are only like 203 years away from James T. Kirk being born.
Oh, yeah. That's right,
yeah, we were down in Iowa, Mark. We were only like 2 hours away. Lynn said, we're only 2 hours away from Riverside, Iowa. Maybe we should just keep driving. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. They do have a museum there and everything. But
So I want to make sure that I'm getting this clear. You said that Lynn suggested that you drive to the future birthplace of Captain Kirk. It wasn't you.
No,
it was her.
I didn't even know where it was.
Even though she says she hates William Shatner's acting.
Yeah. She doesn't like William Shatner, but she knows where. Obviously, she doesn't like Shatner, but she likes James T. Kirk.
Okay.
She knows when he's going to be born.
Okay. But you didn't go. All right. Yeah.
No, we didn't. We ended up not going because we didn't have time. But one of these days, I'm going to be down there. It's just not too far from Des Moines.
Okay. This is going to show up on a future episode where, you'll hear the dreamy music and you say, oh, yeah, one of these days I'm going to go to Riverside, Iowa. And, it's going to be 20 years later or something. Yeah. So just prepare yourself for that.
I'm much closer to there than I am, in San Diego.
All right. Well, this last week was the annual trip to Biloxi that Mike, you and I were not able to make this year, but we've got a report. Let's listen.
Nice.
Hello, Mike and Mark. We just happen to be playing video poker down in Biloxi, and I am sitting next to Eric Rosenthal's better half, Stacy. We've had a couple blue drinks. Eric's gone. Eric left. Sorry, Eric.
What's up, Mark and Dr. Mike?
So we had a question for you guys. We're playing a little 9-5 double-double bonus. The hand is King of Diamonds, 10, 8, 7 of hearts, and 3 of clubs. What is the hold for that hand? I already lost a bet thanks to Eric Rosenthal, who actually told me the wrong one. I know what the answer is. Stacy doesn't agree with me, so. She won. She won that bet. But yeah, let us know. We're having a great time down in Biloxi. Huge thank you to Tim. This is by far the best trip that I have ever been on gambling, so this is a blast.
Tim just got out of the hospital.
I hope we get to hear all of this on The Better Life, but we've had quite the run down here. Someone's been dancing too much. Maybe a couple, 2, 3 too many walk-me-downs. Maybe. That's okay. Mark will cut it.
See you in Colorado.
All right. Dr. Brendan, Indianapolis, signing off.
All right, a nice drunk dial from there. I don't think it was Dr. Brendan who said, see you in Colorado. I don't know who the other person was. I know it was Stacy, but I don't know who the other male's voice was. So
there were a bunch of voices there.
Yeah, we'll see you in Colorado. Also, thanks to Mississippi Rob, too, because Rob does a ton of work to get that Biloxi trip going. And so, it sounds like they had a really good time.
It was funny. We were at prior to the prom, the kids all meet at this one scenic place and take pictures. Right?
Oh, this last week, your younger daughter, it was her senior prom. Okay,
senior prom, yeah. So prior to the prom, we were there, and I was talking to the mother of a lady who's like my age. So this is quite an elderly lady, and she is big into going. She still drives herself and stays for a couple of nights at the casinos in Minnesota or Iowa. And she lives here in town. And we were just talking. We were having a great time. I'm sitting there talking to this elderly lady about casinos and what games she likes. And she was talking about her favorite machines and all this and that. And then she turned to me and said, have you ever been to Biloxi? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, just went not so long ago. I love Biloxi. She said, it's just fun. It seemed like a fun place. And the casinos, it wasn't so Vegas-y, you know? but there's enough casinos that you could move around and do stuff.
Oh, for gamblers, I think it's great. I love Biloxi.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. I think it's just fantastic. Yeah.
So I saw her daughter a few days later, and she was like, "Oh, my mom just couldn't stop talking about how much fun she had talking about casinos."
Good for you, Dr. Mike.
I know. And I said, well, that's kind of my theme.
All right, Dr. Mike, here's the hand. Double bonus poker. King of diamonds. 10, 8, 7 of hearts. 3 of clubs. What do you hold?
Double bonus?
Yep.
Well, if it's regular, just the king, right?
All right, even if it's regular. Let's say it's just regular.
Yeah, the king.
I would have thought so too, Dr. Mike. But, in fact, you hold the 10, 8, 7 of hearts. I thought, oh, come on.
Really?
It's a one-gapper for the straight flush. Yeah, that's the hold. So I was surprised. I would have, I'm hardly an expert on video poker, but I probably just would have held the king. If they'd been connected, if it had been like the 9, 8, 7 of hearts.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
But you got a hole there you got to fill.
Right, yeah. So that's it. So there you go.
I thought maybe this was a trick because we don't play a lot of double bonus.
Well, Mike, even just for jacks or better, that's the hold. You hold the 3 cards
hold
to the straight flush, yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, you're hoping for a straight flush, right?
It's one
and
of
you could always get a flush.
Right, yeah, or a straight.
Or a straight.
Right,
yeah.
or 3 of a kind. Or there's all sorts of things that can happen. But yeah, it's one of those hands where expert players are going to look at it and know right away. But casual players like us who have glanced at basic strategy for video poker, we're probably thinking, oh yeah, just hold the king. So, but
Yep, exactly.
All right, let's hear from our friend Ariel.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, this is Ariel. Just a trip report. Went to Tijuana and went to one of the Caliente casinos. They had a craft table. It's 2 times the odds for the pass line. It was a pretty small casino, but it had slot machines. It got Texas Hold'em, the card game, not the actual poker table. The blackjack, they had roulette and all of those things. Interesting fact, so the craft table was closed, and I said, hey, can you guys open this? And since they didn't have all of the dealers dealing at the other tables, they took them, and then they had them open at the craft table.
Nice.
It was about 100 pesos minimum, and then it's about $6 or so. So it wasn't too bad. It was pretty fun. So I played for a couple hours. Ended up losing $200, but it wasn't too bad for the craps game. But it was pretty fun. Anyway, thank you for everything you guys do. Take care.
All right, nice. Thanks,
yeah,
Ariel.
I've seen
for that
Ariel in a
report.
long time.
Yeah.
Ariel, head on down to Jamul.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
I know.
I'm probably not going to run into you at Harrah's.
Yeah, I know he lives up in North County, but maybe Jamul would be a good trip for you, Ariel.
We never did, Mike, you and I go to the casinos down in Tijuana, but we did go to the dog races quite a bit back in the 90s.
Dog races and sometimes horse racing.
Yeah, and highlight.
And highlight. We went to highlight quite a few times. Yeah, I went to the Caliente Casino in Cabo San Lucas.
Oh, okay.
When I was down there with Paula and Gary fishing.
Yeah.
And I just played some blackjack. It was a little scary, to be honest.
Really? Why so?
I don't know. It was just a seedy group of people, and you're playing with American dollars. and
you don't know the language.
So I played a few hands, and actually I think I won $100 or something, and then I just left. And it wasn't that much fun, and it was just blackjack.
Oh, right.
You could sports bet, and you could play blackjack, but that was about it. And they had a few slot machines, nothing big.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hi, this is a trip report from Mark and Andrew. Last call back in 2020, January, so this is our first report since then. We're just getting back from Shreveport, driving home right now. We were able to go to 4 different casinos up there. We went to Margaritaville, Bally's, Horseshoe, and Sam's Town. Played craps at all of them. The lowest limit was at Horseshoe. We had $5 tables there. But their Make 'em All had different odds and had 150 to 1 for Make 'em All. And then most places were doing $10 tables. We stayed at Bally's. And, craps was pretty good. We had a couple interesting things. It was super ice cold one day, so we decided we'd switch over to the dark side and actually ended up doing better after that. And I taught some newbies how to play dark side, which was fun. Andrew called it child's play when there would be a 4 and a 10 on the dark side, and we would hit that. So he would usually roll his 7 right after. Then we switched to the light side later that day at Bally's, and we were talking to a father and son duo over there. And his theory actually had a different strategy. He'd been there for about 4 or 5 hours, and he knows that. So he started telling us his thing, and he actually never comes out on the come-out bet. He only would play after the first bet and then come out with his $10 bet to come out and then do 5x odds and 2 bets. So then we started doing what he was doing, and it did work out pretty well. We almost hit the make 'em all with just the deuces left. Couldn't quite do it. But otherwise, really good. Had some good food over there. We like the Blind Tiger. It's really tasty. And, yeah, we got to play quite a few different games. Bet on some horse racing for the Kentucky Derby, and just kind of, we're all over the place. Did a lot of walking. Got in 16,000 steps on Monday. Otherwise, thank you for the podcast. We enjoy listening on our trips up. Hope you all have a good day. Bye.
All right. Thanks for the report.
All right, yeah.
Shreveport might be another good destination. Although, gosh, we love Biloxi so much. If we're heading down south, say, we might as well go to Biloxi. But yeah, thanks for the report.
We got to try them all, though, Mark.
I know. We'd have to. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I still haven't been to Harrah's in Cherokee.
I know. That one we're definitely going to do at some point. Hey, we're going to Colorado here soon, so we're getting it done.
Yeah, we're getting it done. Yeah, and I guess later in the year, November, will be back in Vegas, right?
Right, yeah, November 1st, yeah. Zorkfest. In fact, they actually announced all the details. You can buy tickets right now. I'll put a link in the show notes. But yeah, Zorkfest, we plan on being there. And Robin, who we heard from earlier, right? From Anytime Gambling, he plans on being out there as well.
Yep, it'd be nice to see some of these people that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, 150 to 1 for the all. That's becoming pretty standard, unfortunately. It's the lower payout instead of the 175. But anyway.
The casinos are going broke, Mark.
Yeah, they've got to do something.
Yeah, that gets hit so often that 175 is just, no, I can't do that.
And then if I understood the system they were talking about that this guy was showing them, I guess it's like a 3-point molly, although you don't bet on the pass line. In other words, it's just 3 come bets.
Right.
I think that's what it sounded like. So you wait till a point's been established, and then you make it that way. And that's fine. Right. I mean, you're avoiding a roll, so in the long run, you might lose less money because there's just one roll where you're not having action, but it's like anything else,
and that you're avoiding that immediate 7 out.
That's what they're thinking, right? That's how I avoid the immediate 7 out. Not that it's any less likely for you to have an
very
immediate
next roll.
7 out on your comeback.
Right.
Anyway,
go up to a 4, 7 out.
All right. Let's hear from Fred.
Hi, Mark. Dr. Mike. This is listener Fred. I wanted to share with you a story that happened to me on a cruise boat. It's the Carnival Pride. We were in Europe last year. So I was at the craps table. Minimums was $5 up to $500, but they had an all tall small, not the good ones, but the 30, 150, 30 payoffs. So it was my habit throughout the entire cruise to always be on the bonus. I'd go 5, 5, 5 on each bonus and go 1, 1, 1 for the crew. So one day when the table was a little warm, there was a 0.4 and the 2 and 3 were rolled as well. So I was feeling pretty good about the bonus bets for the low numbers. All of a sudden, the boxman phone rang and he's saying there's a tech problem with the cameras and we're calling the game off, we're closing the table. And he started arranging for everyone to get their bets back. But one of the dealers was removing the lammers on the 4, 3, and the 2. I said, wait a minute, those numbers are hard to hit, and it's already been hit. And I said, don't touch those things. And then the dealer looked at the boxman said, well, leave them for now. And then I asked the boxman, am I still getting credit for my action during this technical thing? Because, I've been a steady bettor. And he goes, yeah. And he showed me the computer screen next to the table. And he said, look, I got you for 125, which was accurate, and the clock's still running. So that calmed me down a little bit. And then phone rings about 10 minutes later, and he says, okay, we're back on. He goes, okay, let's consider this a come out. And he told me 2, 3, and 4 are already marked the lammer, And I gave him the $18, which he then put back on the all tall small. And then we started rolling. Eventually, the 5 and the 6 got hit, and I got $150, and the dealers obviously got their $30 as well. Ultimately, I don't think I made much money on that hand other than the bonus bets, but I did think that was a fair compromise. Have you ever been in a situation where, for some reason, the game had to be stopped, but you kept getting credit for your action and were able to at least salvage the numbers on the Lammer? It was the first time for me, and I've done some crap playing myself. So, listener Fred, I love you guys. I love listening to you guys. Signing off.
Yeah, thanks, Fred.
Thanks.
We've never been in a situation where a table was closed because of a technical issue, camera, or any other issue for that matter.
Well, power outage.
Okay, where was that?
Harrah's Rincon.
Okay, and
you might have not been there.
Okay, what happened?
Remember, I was there. There was some kind of power outage.
Yeah.
There was a fire or something nearby, and power line went down.
Right.
And then we had to leave. They closed down the casino.
Oh, so they just gave you your bets back, and that was it?
Yeah, that was it. Everyone had to go.
That's not exactly the same as, this was a temporary situation.
Yeah. No, I've never had anything like that.
And the fact that you were on a cruise ship, Fred, probably helped. That they're saying, okay, look, you're still getting credit for this. Whereas if it had been, a land-based casino, they might not have done that. Because maybe you have other choices. You can go to another table where the camera is working, or another casino or something like that. So, we've never had that. And we've never certainly had in a situation where you come back and they let you go back up on the all tall small and include the numbers that had already been rolled.
That's very nice of them, actually.
Yeah,
because they easily could have said, we got to close down the table. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here's your money back. I know you were close to hitting it, but that doesn't mean you would have hit it.
Fred said that it was a fair compromise. I would say that it was not a compromise, Fred, because you didn't give up anything.
Right?
They bent over backwards to accommodate you. Not only did they give you back the 2, 3, and 4, not only did they keep the clock running when you didn't have any actual action, when they came back, they said, okay, new come-out roll. So you didn't even have to deal with your point being a 4.
Right.
So they did everything. You didn't have to give anything up. So I'd say that's more than fair, and that was great customer service.
Yeah, they were generous, I think. Because they could have argued the other way, and that would have, maybe it wouldn't have set so well with some of the players, but they probably still would have kept playing.
Yeah, I think that was great. So, all right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Christian from North Carolina. I've been listening to the show for about a year now, so I'm still trying to get caught up on past episodes, but love the show, love what you guys are doing. Just one question for you. It might be a dumb question, but a lot of videos I watch and a few times I've been to the craps table, I'll see on the layout that it'll say no call bets accepted. So I was kind of wondering if you guys could explain kind of what that means. But like I said, I really love the show, guys. Keep it up. And I'm trying to get caught up on these episodes, but I got a lot to catch up on. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Okay, so no call bets. Literally what it means is that you can't just yell out your bet without providing money or chips to make the bet. That's the literal definition of it. Now, how is it actually interpreted in practice? If you're just at the table and you've been there for a while and maybe the dice are about to go out and, a $10 come bet, they will generally book that because they see that you've got money in the rack and they heard the bet and they'll say bet. Or maybe they'll say no action if the dice are almost in the air or whatever. But normally they'll say that even though technically that's kind of a call bet, they see that you've got chips. They see that you can make the wager. So they can hold you to that.
Remember we had that problem at Harrah's one time where that guy who always made those late bets, he came to the table, threw some money down as the dice were being picked up to be thrown, and then said something like, $50 5 or 9 or whatever he did. And they said, no bet.
Yeah.
And then it came up and there was a big argument.
That's a little different though, because that's more than just a call bet. That's like, hey, the dice are already out. You can't, I don't care if you've got money.
But it's just call bets can get, depending on when you call it. Like, I mean, you could be walking by and say, hey, give me the $25 tin.
Yeah, that's really what they are trying to prevent, is somebody who's just like walking by the table or coming up to the table, hasn't shown any money yet, hasn't gotten any chips, and says, yeah, hey, give me a $25 hard 10 or something like that.
Then if 7 comes up, I was just kidding.
Then they won't book it. If it's somebody that they're familiar with, like you, Dr. Mike, let's say the dice were about to go out and you realized that there was a bet you wanted to make that you didn't have out there already, and you don't have enough chips to make the bet. They trust you, they know you, so even though maybe you haven't shown them the money yet, they would book a bet because they know you're good for it.
Sure.
But, somebody where you don't see that they have any chips, you don't see that they have any money, that's what no call bets is really about. Now, the other side is kind of like what you were saying, Dr. Mike. They don't want to book call bets where maybe they misheard you. Oh, I want a $5 hard 8. And hard 8 comes up and, they pay you. No, I said $500 hard 8 right now. That's an extreme example. But they don't want to book a bet that maybe could be misinterpreted or misheard where they haven't seen how much money you have provided.
Or cheating.
Yeah, it's an angle shoot.
Yeah. The dealer could be your buddy. And, as the dice are being thrown, you could say something, oh, give me a $10 11. And the 3 comes up and, he pays you because, he asked for a $10 3 or, there's all kinds of things. And so they just want to see the money hit the table and be put where it's supposed to be before the dice are rolled.
That's really what it means is when we say no call bets, what we want you to do is make your bets when the dice are in the middle of the table, provide us with the appropriate number of chips to make that bet, and make sure that we book that bet. So that's basically.
And so the pit boss or all the other dealers can see that the bet's put down and where it's put down and, what's going to take for that bet to win.
And when it says no call bets out there, if the dealer does say no bet or no action, they can go to that. Well, see, you can't be doing that late, when the dice are actually in front of the shooter, that kind of thing. So that's all that means.
Right. Yeah, it's always a scam going on.
Yeah. Well, we also got a call from listener Nathan. He said it wasn't a call for the show, but he was basically just sending his condolences to us for the loss of our father. So again, thank you very much. That was a very nice call,
Yes,
Nathan.
That was a very, very nice call.
We
appreciate it.
I've got more calls in the hopper, too, that I just could not process in time for our recording here, Dr. Mike. So we're just going to have to save those for next time.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. But we do want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From James, from Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, from Kurt, and from Robin from Anytime Gambling. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Yellow Hat Joe. Greetings, Mark and Dr. Mike. Thanks for responding to my email. I'm sending a karma donation for my upcoming Vegas trip in May, the 12th through the 16th, and a donation for Dr. Mike's kiddos in school. Thanks for all of your wonderful content, including the movie and television listings. Hey, all right. Have fun, Yellow Hat Joe. So the email that Joe sent us. So remember we were talking about our favorite gambling movies, and Dr. Mike said, Viva Las Vegas. And I was sort of incredulous and, what are you talking about? It's not that great. And you said, it's because of Anne Margaret. It's because of Anne Margaret. And it's like, okay. Yeah. Well, Joe said, hey, if it's Anne Margaret you like, you should watch The Cincinnati Kid because it's a much better gambling movie than Viva Las Vegas. And it also has Anne Margaret.
Yeah, I kind of didn't think of that movie, but that is a good movie.
Okay.
I have seen it.
All right. So are you changing your answer to Cincinnati Kid?
Mark, to be honest, it'd be a tie because I love Elvis too.
Right. Nice try, Yellow Hat Joe. We couldn't completely convert him, but it's a tie now.
Is Yellow Hat Joe, is he Curious George's friend?
That could be, yeah. But that's just the man in the yellow hat. We don't know his first name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It wasn't Joe.
Could
that we know of.
That we know of, right?
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that for my own sanity.
Also, a donation from listener Todd. Quarterly thank you donation. Appreciate all you guys do. Keep it up. Well, thank you very much, Todd. And finally, a donation from our good buddy Kevin. He asked, what things can we ask of a host? And again, I kind of defer to the Crap Vegas guys, but you can call up a host and say, hey, here's where I'm coming. Get me all set up with everything. So that would mean, hotel room, any free play I've got coming, food, beverage, etc.
If it was me at school and one of my students asked me, like, what can I ask? I would say, well, you can ask for anything. Are you going to get everything you want? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to ask a host for whatever.
All right. Well, I think Kevin probably understands that as an adult.
Yeah, but I mean, so maybe what I mean? Within reason.
I understand, Dr. Mike. So let's say within reason, what would be a good thing to ask a host for? Maybe something that you couldn't do on your own.
You could ask for show tickets.
Yep, good.
You could ask for, like you said, hotel, food, beverage.
Maybe a massage, trip to the spa.
Trip to the spa. They will give you a lot of those trips to the spas.
Yeah.
So if you're like Kevin's going with his wife, he should ask, hey, can we get a massage? And a lot of times they will, because that's not a lot of sweat off their back, really.
Yeah. Transportation.
Transportation for sure.
Yeah, to and from the airport, or, your airfare even too, right? In some cases,
airfare, right? They will comp airfare. We've had that a lot of times. You can ask for things, certain events. So especially in Vegas, if you're like, hey, I want to go to a Raider game or a hockey game or this or that, you can ask, and they sometimes can do that.
Right. And it might not
be big blocks.
Yeah, it might not be something that the casino is publicly offering to its players, but maybe the host can do something.
No, they always buy big blocks to every game, and they give them to certain people, and if they have extra, they might.
Yeah, if they have extra,
they want to keep you happy. The rodeo in Vegas, things like that, they can always give you stuff like that.
Yeah.
Complimentary stuff. If you had a good rapport with your host and you said, hey, I'd like to have a fruit basket in the room when I get there, or
something like that. Or, hey, it's our anniversary.
Right.
Maybe you can do a little something for us or something like that.
Yeah, they'll do stuff like that for you.
Yeah. So hopefully that.
I think you can ask for anything. I mean, you can't say, hey, I'd like you guys to give me $10,000 giveaway or something. But things within reason, they're pretty good about that.
Okay, so not a $10,000 giveaway, says Dr. Mike.
Right.
But other things within reason. Okay.
Within reason, like what if you said, hey, how about a $50 voucher at the sundry store? They might do that.
Wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah. Maybe you want to go in there and buy a gift for your kid or something, or things like that.
All right. Good answers, Dr. Mike. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet On That t-shirts. And Dr. Mike, I understand we're going to have some baseball caps here coming soon.
Baseball caps.
With our logo on it. Yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to go pick them up. Also, I'll be adding those to the website fairly soon. So keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, they're nice caps, too.
I think so, too. Yeah, I think so, too. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at our voicemail hotline, 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. All right, Dr. Mike.
Well, Mark, like I said, there's only 7.5 days left of school.
Good for you.
And then, like 11 or so days after that, we're going to Blackhawk in Colorado.
Yep.
After we get back, I have to decide what I'm going to do next year. The biology teaching job that I'm doing now is going to be filled by another science teacher.
Oh, good. An actual biology teacher this time.
I'm an actual biology teacher. I probably have more degrees in biology than that guy.
All right. Sorry.
But he is an actual teacher.
Okay.
I'm a special teacher, I guess.
You sure are.
I've been special for a while. So I have to decide what I'm going to do. So the kids at school were asking me, the 10th graders, and I said, well, I've narrowed it down to a few things. They do need a librarian.
All right.
Because she's going to be leaving. So, I can apply for that, and I'm sure they'd probably give it to me.
All right.
I could go back to helping with the special needs children.
That's always good.
Which I really like because they're great.
Yeah.
And I have fun doing that.
Yeah.
I can also go back to being like a teacher aid teacher who goes from room to room and helps certain individuals who are struggling in a subject.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked doing that. And then I thought there's pro wrestling. That was one of my options.
Good. Yeah, like Vito.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of old. They brought that up about pro wrestling. I'm kind of old and not good balance and everything, but I explained to him that no, I'd be going for female mud wrestling.
Oh, okay. You might be able to hold your own there. I doubt it, but you know.
I doubt it, but it'd be fun losing.
Yeah.
And then my other option is to do something totally different. And I got an offer to work on a farm.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think I'll take that.
Yeah, that might be a little rough.
If I was younger, I'd do that. I think it'd be fun, but nah. So anyway, I got to make a decision. So if you have any ideas what you think I should do next year, just so I don't go crazy at home, let me know. My students said for sure they thought I would just be a professional gambler. And I said, no. First of all, my wife won't let me do that. Second of all, I won't be making any extra money at all.
How about this, Mike? Why don't you go down to Diamond Joe Worth or maybe to Des Moines, to the 2 casinos there, and see if they'll give you a job being in charge of the TV monitors there. Make sure the TVs aren't stuck on Star Wars Episode 4, you know?
Right, or something stupid. Yeah,
right.
An episode of Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going to be doing when I retire.
Yeah, that's not a bad job. I'll call. Okay, I think I'll call first and see if they need
Mark,
that.
I don't think we really have a
help.
need for that. Oh, trust me, you do. Look what's on the screen right now.
I should just go around the casino as like a fixer, a person who goes, "Okay, do you have a problem here?
Oh, fixer.
Let me fixer.
Ah, not a cooler. But a fixer, where you go around and you fix all the problems.
I fix the problems. And some guy's having an issue with something. Let's get that fixed. Calm down. I'll take care of that. And I get everything fixed for him, right?
All right. Casino fixer.
Casino fixer. That pays good.
Yeah, I'll bet it does. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
So excited! Did you see the ring? Oh my God. I can't wait to tell my parents I'm marrying a doctor.
He's a dentist.
But it doesn't matter. The invitation will still read Dr. and Mrs. What's his last name?